They must have planned it.
It's well, I know that I don't know from book script because obviously I'm not there. Well, no, I have. I because I saw the shows
You
2
have.
months ago. I saw the shows 2 months ago, and it's the lifeness of it.
Exactly. I
It's
think
the
that's it.
lifeness of it, and having done impro, it's the
Mhm.
lifeness of it, and you can't bottle it.
No.
Um,
And
and
it is absolutely real.
and the moment you try to sort of repeat an impro, it's dead. And the moment you try and bottle a show, it's dead. That's why movie takes, you do 15 different versions of the same line, because all of them have to be live and all of them have to be different, and then the director makes a choice. In a live show, it's that, and it's that's a live moment.
Yeah.
It'll be a terrible live moment, but it's a live moment.
But it's real. That's the thing.
Real.
It's real. And we had a lovely comment again. This is going back to I think when we did Taming of the Shrew in 2018. We had a lovely comment that it was an honor to witness the process and the moments of creation, because normally those are all things that actors know, because we go through a rehearsal process. You make a discovery, you have a fabulous moment, everybody decides they want to keep it, and then you go through your run of performances, and a lot of the actor's skill is in making something real, live, that isn't, basically. But I mean, it's a huge part of what we actually train to do, if you think about it, is that kind of recreational thing. So we've chatted about that. So we're going to be sort of focusing on Much Ado About Nothing today.
We are.
Because that is our next in-person full live performance. We are doing a fundraising performance of a 90-minute edit of Much Ado About Nothing. And we are doing that at the Hilldrop Community Centre in North London at 3:00 on Sunday, the 5th of July.
Like that.
So, ta-da! It's as if we rehearsed it, which we hadn't.
No, classic.
So that's there. That is also stuck up all over our social media. So if you found us on social media, no excuse, it's out there. So we're talking about that, and we have invited on with us today. So we invited Kate because she's an old hand and she's in the Much Ado cast, and we invited Tom because this is going to be his first time in person, and he's in the Much Ado cast. So
let's give a quick recap of Much Ado for the people that might have not seen it. Yeah, just quickly. Lizzie, do you want to take it away?
Much Ado About Nothing. We are in the fictional kingdom of Messina, and we are at the house of Leonato, who is a rich country gentleman, and with him live his niece Beatrice, who is a very lively, witty young lady, and his very demure young daughter Hero. To his house comes Don Pedro of Aragon, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. Don Pedro of Aragon and his victorious army. And in his victorious army are a young Florentine called Claudio, who is extremely sweet on Hero, and Signor Benedict of Padua, who has a history with Beatrice, the lively niece. So we have basically two concurrent love stories. We have Hero and Claudio, who through various shenanigans and contrivances, they become engaged. Everybody's very happy. And to while away the time before they get married, their friends decide to basically have an intervention on Beatrice and Benedict, who have a history. Somehow or other, they hurt each other, which is my interpretation of them, because they do nothing but spar. They won't let, it's just like sparks fly the minute they're around each other. And their friends are basically going, oh, for goodness sake, you two, you are in love. Do something about it. So they are tricked, basically, back into being in love. And of course, the path of true love doesn't run entirely smooth in either of those stories. But we do end up with everybody as friends and dancing together. So that's it. I'm not going to go into any more detail. We do have some comedy locals in there as well.
Just
We have a troublemaker. We have Don John, who is Don Pedro's illegitimate brother, who deliberately creates trouble. But you can't have a story without trouble.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well,
so
yeah.
we need him.
Just for the Italians, I don't expect there being too many watching this, but never mind. Messina is a real place.
It's real, yeah.
Yes, and it was under Aragon's reign power for quite a while. It was doing well under Aragon's Aragon power. So
see, there you go.
Yeah, that's why Don Pedro.
Where is it then? Is it Italy, Spain? Where is it?
It's in Italy. It's in Sicily.
It is Italy.
Yes, where I'm from, sort of. No, I'm not really. My grandfather was from there. But yeah, it's that's what happens. Yeah.
I'm spending too much time in Love's Labour's Lost, which is fictional.
Which is fictional, very fictional. Yes, and it's fine. It's okay. No problem. I just thought, like, somebody. I don't want to have to answer 9,000 emails. Going like, yeah, Messina's real. Mainly from my mother, probably, but it's okay.
Every day, look, every day is a school day, and I'm perfectly happy with that.
No, but it's there we go. Right, it is so it's categorized as a comedy.
Well, it ends with weddings. What else do you want?
Nobody dies. Nobody dies in blood, which is the definition of not a tragedy for late 16th century.
There we go. And do you want to do the title pun, please?
No, you want to do. Valentina has been researching.
I've been researching things I don't know about this play. I unfortunately have done this play many times. I think about 7. And there are still things I don't know about this play. And one of them that I only found out a few weeks ago, actually, I wasn't researching for this, was that the pun. The title is supposed to be a pun. A triple pun, apparently. The what I call the Shakespeare one, which is of course the vulgar one, includes the fact that Much Ado About Nothing. Nothing was a euphemism for a certain bit of a lady. So which really makes the translation, the title in translation of this play really wrong most of the time, because it sounds much more poetical than it is. So Much Ado About Women. Great. I shall try not to censor myself. And the other thing, apparently, I mean, I am not the best person for original pronunciation here, but nothing in the original pronunciation would have been closer to what noting would have been at that time. And noting was a word for overhearing, eavesdropping and gossiping. And it is a play where a lot of people overhear a lot of other people talking, which always made me curious about because it's just after a war, right? So the nature of war and the nature of spying that the soldiers bring in, as well as the nature of gossiping that clearly the very isolated Leonato's family is rife with. They had nothing to do, be like the Russians in Chekhov. They just took to each other. And then of course, like a lot of people argue that it's a very musical play. So noting in terms of musicality, it is a musical play. I don't think it's the most musical. Like it depends about how much music you put in, I guess.
Well, officially there's 2 songs and a dance.
Yeah, I mean that need to be in there.
Yeah.
And then you can add music. We've just seen. I've just seen a very beautiful rendition of this play by the Sira sisters. Shout out to a great Shakespeare company with Kate in it. It was great, and they definitely did add some music, and the musical choices were amazing. We had a lot of fun. So yeah, here we go. From an actor perspective of like what we come. So as actors who come in to a non-rehearsal process, as in like everybody rehearses by themselves, with no direction, we have or at least like I think we do. I don't know. Like everybody, please contradict me if that's not true. We keep an eye on the text that is somewhat different and somewhat more keen, or at least like it depends by the actor again, but like of what you would need normally, because you don't have the filter of a director to interpret the text for you. And as I am also preparing certain parts from this play for the August shows, and the amount of prose,
I know. Oh,
it's insane.
That is one of the things that really bugs about this play is if you are, I mean, basically, who doesn't want to play Beatrice? You know, pretty much
Yeah.
everybody wants to play Beatrice and or Benedict. But
I'm
the,
right.
but the problem is that they are really difficult to do as audition pieces because they've got really good speeches, but they're in prose. And there is a prejudice towards, you have to be able to show that you can handle verse if you're going to an audition. So even if you did, a bit of Benedict, which is he does perfectly well structured, lovely, complex, nice expression.
Yeah.
All the language stuff is in there, but it's prose. And it's one of the big argument things about it is why, why certain bits are in prose. Go on then, Kate.
Go again.
Go on.
well, like this is not like my professional opinion on the text. This is just something I've been thinking about because I just did a rehearsed Much Ado, and then I'm about to go into an unrehearsed Much Ado, but thankfully the cuts are so different that they don't really interfere with each other. But as Valet and I passed by each other after the show last weekend, we talked about our part that we share and the prose briefly. And it suddenly occurred to me that like obviously something I can't avoid, to an extent no actor can avoid bringing themselves to it to a degree, obviously still de-roll and all that, but like if you're wired a certain way, you can't get rid of it to play a character, ergo no character I've played can really be considered neurotypical. And that's like at the heart of my practice. And I think that sparkly brains can often really thrive in the Q script because we're used to that feeling of life being unpredictable and excited by it. But in Much Ado, most of the other characters, even the clown, do speak in verse, and Beatrice and Benedict don't. And I think that something is missed with a lot of mainstream, I'm not going to say lovely famous actors' names that I love, but big voiceless male famous actors can miss out on is that those people are othered. They are different.
Mm-hmm.
They don't hate that. They find fun in it. They have coping strategies that are fun, that are bravado and being the fool. But the prose marks them and demarcates them as different, and only one of them ever breaks into verse. And I think that that's something I would never have noticed as an actor if I hadn't been used to working on text undirected through the Q-based practice. There's just so many gifts of like unlocking and things with punctuation that you might not notice if you didn't have to do it in this manner to be ready to work with others. That it gives you like concept like that isn't like I'm going to force a concept where it's set on the moon. It's just what's there.
I mean the other thing that certainly we did the practice run online, and I was playing the Prince, Don Pedro, and one of the things about Don Pedro is always played in directed versions as a nice guy. You always get the lovely actor to come along and play Don Pedro. If you just look at Don Pedro's lines, Don Pedro is not a nice guy. And the reason he sets up Beatrice and Benedict to fall in love is because he's been rejected by Beatrice. And Don Pedro is never rejected by anybody. He's not used to it. So he is doing this purely as revenge. And one of the things that is very clear if you're only reading Don Pedro's bits is that Don Pedro is really just doing this because Benedict has done something or other to annoy him, and Beatrice has basically said no to him. And his whole thing is he doesn't even let Hero chat up his own Claudio chat up his own girlfriend. He goes in and does it because I'm going to be so much better at that than you are, because nobody ever says no to me. But that's because you're a prince. And
their prince, not even a prince, their prince.
He is their boss.
And he goes in, tells Hero, they've never actually had any conversation themselves. Don't worry, I'll chat up your girlfriend for you. And then Beatrice goes, you should get yourself a wife.
Yeah, get yourself a wife.
He goes, what about it then? And she goes, no. And at that point, it's like, right, I'm going to get my own back on you. And he dobs her in it. And the person he knows that she will be most miserable with is Benedict. So that's his motivation for the rest of the play. And that's in the text. And the other thing is that Beatrice is of a different class.
Yes.
To the others, to the extent that, and there is a line where where Claudio says, does he have any? Does Leonardo have any sons?
Has he any heir but Hero?
Yeah.
And he says, no, she's his only daughter. She's his only heir. And
Perfect.
as far as I'm concerned, that means that Beatrice is actually his older daughter, but born from a different relationship. So she is not. She's he clarifies.
Niece, isn't she?
Yeah, but niece is one of those words that in the 16th century means illegitimate daughter.
Oh, fascinating! I always thought there were at least 3 brothers.
There is no mention of the other brother.
No,
there is a mention of Hero's mum. Hero's mum appears in the opening scene.
Gets no lines.
And never appears again and is never mentioned.
Yeah.
And he's always cut.
And it's always cut. It's always cut because you're not going to employ an actress just to stand on stage and look miserable. But basically, that's if you're just looking at the prince's lines, the prince is actually a really, really quite unpleasant person. And the only reason he's not played as unpleasant more often is because Don John is even more unpleasant.
Yeah. Well, he does say, the time shall not go dully by. Because, I mean, he comes up with this whole intervention thing as a game,
but
they're going to entertain themselves.
A game to them. It's not a game to the people involved. And I think the thing that, I mean, this is can I give spoilers? Like, can I?
Yes. I mean, listen, it's 400 years old.
Yeah, 400 years old. And if you haven't seen the Branagh film by now, it's your own fault. So
I have a Branagh tangent, but I can't say it, so I'll just keep it in. Keep it in for now. But anyway, the thing is, like, they're fun characters that a lot of people want to play because they're fun. And they're like doing everything in a Q script roots it back to being human and listening, right? And they are human. And when you are the fun guy that's not taken seriously, it has a weight on you, it has a cost on you. I know, which is why I'm obsessed with the play. And when you choose to be a bachelor and don't commit, there's something under that, either because the specific person you like has hurt you, which is what I think is going on in this play, or because everyone has, or because you, like, especially what you said about the class thing, like, later at the end of the play, Leonato's like, oh, well, there's this plot to fool Claudio that Hero's died from his behavior and you can be with my other niece. And no point is that suggested to be Beatrice, because Beatrice is low value to them. And that's probably because even if she is a genuine niece, it's of a lower class brother, or it's through marriage to a poorer person. She has no social status, which means she is free to behave as a woman is not free to behave in that concept, but also means that it makes sense what you're saying about Dom Pedro. Like, he doesn't expect someone not as good as him to do that. And there's also the whole thing of he does it as a laugh and everyone thinks it's a joke, but it's vulnerable to listen to people revealing that stuff and to believe in reciprocity when you've not, like, especially if you do read them as, well, it's not even read them as non-conforming, they are non-conforming. And you can choose to interpret that through LGBT, and you can choose to interpret that through neurodiversity, but regardless, like, they're non-conforming characters. When you are non-conforming, you don't expect reciprocity the way someone like Hero and Claudio can expect reciprocity and can see every rom-com and be represented in it. And so there's a vulnerability which is funny. It is funny to the outside and is funny to them, like, in hindsight when it's all right, but is raw as well. And I think that sometimes that's not unlocked in a directed production. It can only be revealed in Q script because you're going to be surprised. And then finally, of course, everyone's laughing, what a joke this is. But when things go, I'm trying to think of a non-sweary way to say it, when when the excrement hits the fan for the other characters that are their best mates that they love,
Yeah.
the only people that take each other seriously are Beatrice and Benedict. So then they get the last lines, the last words, the "you're looking sad, Prince, like why don't you get a wife?" Because and I've never seen a character like myself get the last laugh or get the love story or get even to be considered to have charisma for the ways that they've had to survive. And that's why the play matters so much to me, and why I love seeing all of you guys do it when I'm not involved and do it when I am, like all that. It's, but I loved what you said, Tom, because it's such a I think class is often taken out of Shakespeare in the modern day, and I don't know why. Taming the Shrew is the same, and it's very, very relevant to how you're going to interpret this stuff, as we've said, without a rehearsal process, because you're coming in knowing that about your character. What can they get away with? What can they not?
Yeah, and also like I think like, and this happens in every play that we do because we do work from Q scripts. But in this, I was really having a look at my part again today, and I was like, it always feels like you never, because obviously you don't know how the other person is going to play it, right? But it's particularly true that like it always feels like you're on a razor edge. And it could go into, oh, this is all fun. It's all fun and games. It's fine. Or it can be very vulnerable at any point. There's not a point where you go like, oh, I'm definitely going to be vulnerable then.
No, you can't know.
You can't know. You can't know because you don't know what you are put in front of. But pretty much, I mean, I think we can say what we're playing, Lizzie, because otherwise it's...
Oh, God, yeah, come on.
But yeah, Kate and I are going to play Beatrice in
different productions.
I'm July, she's August. Come and see both.
There you go. Fantastic. If you want to come to Liverpool over here, if you just
Come to North London. Yes.
Jump on the train, help the rails. Right. But it feels like you, like pretty much every Beatrice line is from the first one. It can go either way.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing I really love is the first line. You have a caesura after 2 words.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a Signor Benedict, Signor Montanto. It's like, it's so funny because you just like for a character that works with words so much and it's so like it's so easy for her to speak. How do you get that moment of like straight away in the first line?
It reminds me, because I noticed the same thing and I was like, oh, it's punctuation, man. Like, it's just not what I thought it was going to be. And I love it. But it makes me think of that thing where you pause for like, not a whole second, for like a microsecond, because you've said something that's trying to be funny and is it funny? Or you've said something that's pissed off and you're like, how can I make this okay? And it's that is how it feels like to have a way with words as a woman, even in the 21st century. You are on that razor edge because people will respond in all sorts of ways. I always tell the story of my first ever time Q scripting on the workshop course at the Cockpit Theatre in 2018, which was that I tell this story to everyone, but you already know it is good. At the time, I was much more of a planner and a heady actor. Lizzie's laughing because I so was.
Oh my darling, you were.
It's this technique that's made me into a bit of a clown, a bit more responsive in the best way. Clown in the intellectual way. Anyway, like that. I remember afterwards being like, I'm so sorry that I laughed. Like someone came into the scene and made me laugh. And you were like, that's what it's all about. And that's what it's like in real life, because you can be like, you can be going through grief or whatever. And then someone makes you laugh and it's so human and weird. And all you know is that you want to hear what the other people have to say and you know what you want and who you are. And that's what makes every Q script performance I've seen so electric. And I think in this, I don't know what's going to happen in Much Ado About Nothing. I'm excited to see the different ways we both do it as well, having had the same feeling with the text, because it's still going to come out in our own ways.
Different, yeah.
But like something there's scenes where I'm like, oh God, I think I'm going to cry. And then I end up laughing. And there's scenes where I think this is going to be funny and it ends up crying, right? And not me, Kate, crying because I am sad, the character crying in a truthful way. And I'm really excited for this because I just don't know how any of it's going to go. I know enough about the casting to be like, I'm going to be surprised.
I got to say things because of the back of that. I mean, if Don Pedro is as unpleasant as I love that the part that's what revealed, because that is one of the gorgeous things about this. You have no distractions, you have just your lines and you don't look at anything else and suddenly you go, oh my God, I didn't remember that was there. It really backfires on him.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I'm kind of like, good. Like that.
To be fair, Leonato's the same.
Yeah.
Leonato's, I can't imagine the part being particularly pleasant with that fucking monster of a speech in the middle.
I think that's why I really like having the silent wife in the opening scene, because that silent wife has jokes made about her in front of her daughter, because he says, this is your daughter, and he makes this joke about, well, her mum says so. And there is poor little Imogen, who literally is on stage having jokes made about her chastity in a society where chastity is a very, very the only valuable thing in a woman, in front of her daughter and in front of Leonato's mates. And you do sort of think, excellent, Leonato, thanks, mate. Yeah, you're not a horrible person.
But it also makes what Beatrice does in terms of speaking out so much more powerful and so much more like difficult, and so much more like almost like a thing against the system, or so weird for the system. Which is what it's almost like, I don't know, Jane Austen.
Like Kate was saying, I mean, the sort of neurodiversity thing of not quite getting, is this joke going to land? But what the hell, I'm going for it anyway. I like that as a reading of Beatrice.
But not even just, is this going to land? Like, I don't know, like, I'm about to be 30. I see Beatrice as being that sort of age, not like super, super young. And it's like, you reach a point where you know you're going to misspeak because it's kind of part of who you are. And you're like, I don't care anymore what they think. And I think that there's that to it too. But there are moments like, you can see that Benedict means something to her, even if it's the man that ghosted me, because of the punctuation coming at that I've just said this. That I think is all these amazing cues. But I think that it's really hard. I don't know. It's really hard for me to understand it without neurodiversity, but also it's really hard for me to ever watch it and not see that in it, because it feels like there's characters that can't conform and characters that won't conform, and she can be perceived as either and both. Kate the Shrew, I think, you can certainly do is like trying to be what they want me to be, and I just can't. Beatrice, I think, has moments of that, like the way she speaks to Don Pedro, who is like the big boss. If you play it as Mafia, he's the big boss. If you play it as he's just a prince, he's a big boss. Like, no matter what, Leonato and Don Pedro are the powerful authority figures here, regardless of the gender they're cast, but especially in a patriarchy when they're men. And she goes, oh no, like, no, to Don Pedro. I think that is a moment where it's like, I've said the truth, but like, has it gone too far and it's cost? I can't not do it, but that's, which is how, some people are like, what if you played it like Beatrice and Benedict never actually come together and they're only fooled by the plot and they don't love each other? I think the big argument against that, and I'm a total cynic and anti-rom-com hater, but I will argue that the reason that that it's true, and they do, and they just need to show that they can trust it, is because of them both being that type of slight foot in mouth / pushing people far energy, is that then when they're alone with the audience saying how they feel and have no reason to do any bravado, it's like, yeah, they're into me. So
there is the theory that you can lie to anybody who else is on stage,
not the audience.
If you're speaking to the audience, you tell the truth. That's a sort of one of the few sort of received things that has come down to us that kind of works. I have to say one thing about punctuation, because the academic in me is jumping up and down and has to say this, because again, it's like, you don't want to get emails, nor do I. Okay, so just so everybody knows, and for full disclosure, we work from First Folio Text. And why do we do that? Basically because the guy who created this technique does it, but also because basically it's really good fun. There is a lot of stuff that we get out of it as actors that has been profoundly and intimately dissected and discussed by extremely learned researchers and scholars of academia, who we entirely respect. And we also, and I know that I was actually dissuaded from mentioning the fact that we use First Folio Text in my PhD thesis, because basically it was like, if you do that, you're going to have to do a major justification for why. And I'm like, okay, I'm just taking that out then, because it's not really relevant. And there's a bit of me that is really, really, really heartbroken that using first folio text is so controversial, when purely from an acting and a playing point of view, it's so much fun and it feeds us so much. And and again, so I'm putting that out there as a disclaimer. Yes, I know that the first folio is not perfect, and I know that the first folio is not likely to be the acting texts, which is what it was believed to be. And I know that the punctuation is not directly reliable, and it's not definitely the punctuation that Shakespeare himself put in there. It could be the compositor, the prompter, the person who wrote out the script, or the actor. We don't know. And we basically don't care. We go from what I tell everybody who comes into the technique, because we have to talk about punctuation, because the thing is, scholars are allowed to, can go to places where it's like, oh, well, we don't know. It could be this, it could be that, it could be the other. And then the actors are going, great, what do I actually do? Give me some guidance. What do I actually do? So what we come down to is you use the punctuation that's there. If it works, fantastic. If it doesn't, if it really, really doesn't, then we have another conversation. And that's how we do it.
That's how you do it in translation as well, by the way. Hello, there's a lot of other world where people don't do this in English. Yep.
Can I add to that, again, as the newbie? I get the text as sent to me by Lizzie of my script. And first of all of the words that I know should be modernized, I modernize. The words that I'm not sure whether they should be modernized, I try and work out, and if it's and there's certain words like hour that very probably might be pronounced in a rude sense with a word beginning with H, and then you've got and you play with various different readings of the words, and you play with various different intonations on the line and on the sentences, and then I will take commas out, put full stops in that make more sense of a line. I won't ever change the words, but what I will do is I will look at what the word could be, as opposed to, so when I've got this text, my lovely Cambridge School edition, it's done all that for me, which means that there is only one way of interpreting the text.
But you also don't know who made the decisions.
I don't know who made the decision. So
it's who made the decision and what they based it on, and what they were deriving it from in the first place.
Yeah. Whereas the text I get from Lizzie, the only person who's, as Lizzie said, there's like 4 or 5 people before it gets to the first folio, and then obviously there's Lizzie as well. But those come down to me, and then I muck about with it.
We start with I start everything, and anybody who remembers doing my workshops way back before COVID, we went through this. It's like you start from the basis of what's in front of you on the page is correct. You start from that basis, that this says it is set out as this is meant to, if it is prose or if it is verse, and that the punctuation you have been given is the correct punctuation, and you work physically with that. And again, if, as and when things are completely lousing up, then obviously, we are flexible, because meaning over anything,
and sometimes joke over meaning. Because
and there's like new stuff that comes out of that. Yes. Like rhyme is one of them. So like when I started doing Shakespeare, the one thing I really didn't like, to be honest, was like when you have like one rhyme among a general speech where you're not rhyming, because I was like, and especially when the words don't rhyme now. And like obviously there's a lot of talk about the original pronunciation acts that people spoke in a vastly different way to they do now. So if you have a Brummy accent, and reportingly kind of can rhyme, but if you don't and you're like, I'm here playing it in this voice, how do I make that rhyme because it's intended to rhyme? It doesn't have to be like reporting lie. It can be I believe it better than reportingly, and like that's like an acting choice I probably wouldn't have thought of. I'm not saying it's going to happen that way. Come on July 5th to see if it does. But I'm just saying like it's an acting choice that I wouldn't have thought of without the first folio.
That is the exact thing I wanted to say, because I have the experience of working with, obviously, because I've done the acting from parts thing as well. And what I love, and this is a complete brain flipper, because you do something really literal and technical, as in obeying your punctuation, and it flips your brain into a place where it's not allowed to make a decision about how it thinks it wants to say the line, because it's got to say it the way that it's written in front of you. So you say the line like that, and then usually what happens is there is a reverberation from, you know, from inside, from your emotional engine, that kind of goes, wow, I really like the way that line came out. I would never have, magic word, thought of that. So doing something incredibly heady and technical gets you out of your head. Deal with that. It is one of the many things that I love so much about this technique. So,
and it makes it feel, I feel like Shakespeare rehearsed conventionally, not always, not this weekend, but like often Shakespeare that's rehearsed conventionally, especially in like elite spaces that are the big dogs of Shakespeare, can feel like being an air traffic controller, or watching something that's planned by an air traffic controller. And cue-based Shakespeare, or Shakespeare done by a clown-based director, or Shakespeare done where you're in your body through whatever method, it's like race cars. And I know what I'd rather watch.
Well, one of the reasons when I first discovered this technique, I had one of those moments in life where it's just like, okay, my brain is now all over the walls. But the thing was, I love Shakespeare. I have always loved Shakespeare from about the age of 12. And I love Shakespeare. I love so many Shakespeare plays. So I go and watch Shakespeare and I get bored. I get bored because I'm watching the set be clever.
Yeah.
And I get very fed up with that. It's like, I don't want to watch the set be clever. I want to hear the actual play. I want the play to play in front of me. I want music and poetry, and I want squishy, horrible, crunchy human moments where things mess up and then come right again. That's what I want in my Shakespeare. So when I fell over this technique, I was like, I think I'm gonna like this. And the thing is, we aren't for everybody. I can't guarantee anybody comes to see our shows will love it, because we aren't for everybody. But you either love what we do or you hate what we do, but it's what we do. And I, for one, wouldn't change it, because it's Shakespeare made human, and Shakespeare made, spontaneous, and the poetry and the music, I think, is more there in the difficult, the human moments that we have, on stage, and in the listening and in the liveness. For me, that's because that's real life. I mean, that's what we're all doing right now in this conversation. You don't know when I'm going to stop talking, although I could decide to give somebody a cue. And if anybody picks it up.
Wait. No, it's not ready. It's not ready.
Oh, no.
Wait. We'll get there. Well, I didn't know you were going to do that.
No, I didn't know I was going to do that either.
That would have helped. There you go. Ta-da!
Oh, tis your...
Oh.
This is one of the quotes that is muchly quoted if you do any reading on historical cue-based performance. This idea of cues. So
yes, sorry.
That's fine.
That was me having a laugh. Just before we close everything, Tom, how do you feel about your preparation now?
What?
How do you feel about your preparation for the shows?
For the show, I feel
weeks.
great.
Fantastic. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I just hoped we didn't scare you. Right. Quite quickly, can we do including you, Lizzie, a quick what do we do to prepare? What is our technique to prepare for a performance from cued parts? I'll start myself. I record myself, cues and lines, and then I record just cues, and I hope for the best and do it while driving.
I used to do the cue. I used to learn everything in sequence, and I could only go from the beginning all the way through to the end. And I would learn the cue sort of under my breath, and then lead it into the line, and I would do everything out loud, and that's what I would do.
Similar to both. So I first go through it and check that I know like what I'm saying, what it actually means. and then do the first folio kind of exercises on it out loud, always out loud. There's like no point doing it in your head, like always out loud. Then I record the cues with gaps that are the length of what I'm saying and play them looking at the script, say them out loud, and then it gets to a point where I can put the script away, and then I do other things. Kind of, I can't drive, but if I could, I would be doing that. Like I do other things while it's playing, and I say them, so that I'm basically training myself to come in on those cues. Which often means the times when I call line is when that cue never came. And then
which happens,
which is part of the magic of the practice, though, especially when the character is in the merde, because like that's a clown training saying, if your character is like and then you forget, it's perfect. But then the new thing I've recently added to keep myself on my toes is I cut up the audio file, randomize the order they appear, and just blast the cues and then see if I know them.
See, that I cannot do. I've known several people who've worked with us over the years, and they do flashcards, and they got
I used to do flashcards
and the line on the other. And I've had people have like deliberately dropped them and shuffled them because the idea of like, in case the cues come in the wrong order, and that basically almost gives me a nosebleed just to think about.
Yeah,
I've only
used to
started
do that.
doing it now. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do that, and now I use my mother, who's got a delightful Italian accent, and most of the time I can't understand the cues she's saying, so it's really helpful because it just really forces me to listen. Tom.
I go over the lines, but like Kate, I make sure that I am vocalizing. I'm trying out different ways. I'm just, and I hope it's all going to work out. I'm doing a lot of. I think I'm doing a lot of prayer. I think that's my answer.
You're allowed. Yes. And the thing is, there is zero sort of there is absolutely no shame to calling for a line. I've had to do it. I was quote the playing Prospero, that the second full play I ever staged using this technique. Played Prospero, and I knew my part backwards, inside out, upside down, standing on my head. Still, first performance, you're there going, nope, it's gone. And you have to call a line, and immediately you're going, of course I knew that. But that's just not it. Historically, you would be out, and being out was just a part of acting.
It's part of life.
Yeah, it is. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. I think we've done almost an hour. Let's close it here. Tom and Kate, stay on the line, but I'm just gonna take your videos off for a moment. Lizzie, shall we do a carousel of what's happening next, if you don't mind?
Okay. So live shows.
In order. Online show. You know this.
Live shows, right? So online, we're doing King John live online on the 14th of June. She didn't tell me we were doing this.
There's the tickets are links. Yep. On our social media, yes. It's on Eventbrite. Anyway.
Yeah. At the moment, King John is the one that's pinned on our social media. That will be going live at 3 p.m. BST on this Sunday, the 14th. Then the next thing that we're doing, I'm flipping through my diary. Thank you. Right. Then Sunday, the 5th of July. I've already said this. Starting at 3 p.m. we are doing a 90-minute edit of Much Ado About Nothing, featuring the two lovely people that you've just been seeing. That is at the Hilldrop Community Centre, which I think is N7. It's anyway, it's somewhere just north of Camden, and we will be there. Please come if you are in the neighbourhood.
That's North London.
In North London. Then starting at 6 o'clock on Saturday, the 18th of July, we are doing the second annual 24-hour Paraptathon, which is it's 6 or 7 plays in 24 hours. I've forgotten already. They're all on the theme. They're all somehow or other powered by love, because this summer for us is the summer of love. So we are doing, I'm going to see if I can do this from memory. We're doing Antony and Cleopatra, The Tempest, Midsummer Night's Dream, Winter's Tale, Romeo and Juliet, As You Like It. And then we will do, we'll be asking audience to vote for either the 90-minute Love's Labour's Lost or the 90 minutes Much Ado About Nothing, which will be the last play that we do. And if we need some help getting over the line, there's going to be a quick fire round of sonnets, features, and scenes.
There'll be
Because
opportunities
we never know
to.
how long things are going to take. That's one of the fun things about our technique.
Yeah, and ticket links for that will come out in a couple of weeks. And there'll be opportunities to take part and all of that. And also come and support. Come and support.
Please do support us. We're going to be doing things like buy us a coffee, so you can just chuck us a $5 into our mugs when we're about 3 o'clock in the morning and everybody's like, oh my God. And we have to keep going. And there are several actors who have pledged already to do all 24 hours. Last year, I did all 24 hours and I'm taking a nap this time. And
You've learned from your mistakes.
I feel really bad about it. Anyway, from the 6th until the 8th of August, we are doing our third double bill residency in the Cirque Endowed Performance Garden at Shakespeare North Playhouse in Prescott, Liverpool.
I should have properly flushed that.
Liverpool, that's fine. So on Thursday the 6th, it's Love's Labour's Lost. On Friday the 7th, it's Much Ado About Nothing. On Saturday the 8th, it's both. We get to do 2 plays in one day, and yes, it is confusing.
It is very confusing, but it's not going to be confusing on the day.
Hopefully. No, it is also extremely good fun.
There you go.
Online plays are not going to go away. By the way, over the summer.
That's it. That's the end of summer. That's fine.
That's the end of summer. There will be things in the autumn.
Yes, we're not going away.
We are live online every month, with the exception of August. And we do sometimes it's a Shakespeare, and sometimes it's and contemporaries. So that just keeps it fresh and bubbly. But yes, that's everything.
Amazing. Right, I'm gonna close this. Let's just flash this because why not? This is
you should have been on the conversation. We tried to work out what we could and could not say.
That was a fun moment on WhatsApp. Sometimes I feel that's what we should share, and then I remember what we say. Right. I am gonna go with this. Hopefully, there you go. And I'm gonna put the music up. I'm gonna bring back Kate and Tom, and we're gonna close this to the beautiful.
Thank you for attending the first ever Shake Scene Speaks. We will be taking feedback and suggestions. Phrased politely.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, phrased politely. I think that's right. Theme song. No spoons. We need to find something instead of the spoons. Right. And